Alright, with the back of the head, I've chosen to lay out the splines in this way. And when I do that, they're all lined up with the center. And I just move them into position. I can also utilize my back view here to line these up accordingly. And once I have those all lined up, what I'm going to be doing is lofting those. I'm going to be using all three curves to do that. So go back to my perspective so you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to select them one right after another, and I'm going to loft, and you can see that I get a nice clean surface for the back of the head. Now, if I look at the side panel, start there, you can see that the isoperms do not line up with my image plane. So we're going to be rebuilding the surface. Also, whenever you get a double line or a surface is not lofting cleanly, you can do this. Rebuilding curves and rebuilding surfaces is one thing that you'll do often in this process. But once I have this surface and I know how many spans I want to create here, I can count those from my image planes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go with 7 because I see that at the front of this head there are 7, which is where it meets up. We can go ahead and correct that change, snapping and welding verts later on. For now I'm going to do 7 spans, and I'm going to stay with the same number of spans that are currently in the side or in the hemisphere lines there, so that I can maintain my edge loop arrangement. So the way that we rebuild these surfaces is to come right up here to Edit, Nerves, come down here to Rebuild Surfaces, click on the Options box. I'm using Uniform, U and V under Direction, and right in here is where you put the number of spans. I'm going to be using 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 the other way. I'm using 3 cubic in both the U and V degree and NURBS as an output geometry. When I apply that, you can see that it does a nice clean job of rebuilding that surface. And from that, I can go ahead and convert my polished surface. Alright, as I work forward, I'll continue to come back and show you the different ways of lofting surfaces as I run across them. Alright, now here you can see that I've laid out splines for the mouth, both the outer rim and the inner rim, and though I don't have a red line around the inside, I can see in my views where that is, right in here. So when I get that, I can go ahead and, like my other lofted surfaces, select them both, the shift key down, not the control key, and come right up here and loft the surface. I'm going to be lofting with 2. And now you can see that this is almost lining up. We can certainly come in here and right click on the control points to modify those a little bit. But what I'd like to show you is a different kind of a solution for modifying these. If I go to my side view, you can see that they're flat against the surface to which they were lofted. Now, if I right click on the surface and go to Hull, you can see that it gives almost a cage appearance. If I select on one of these lines, you can see it selects the edit points, or the CV, the control verts for that particular hull surface. And now I can bring that surface out to match better. I can also scale those together a little bit. And I can do the same with this whole surface as well. Just bring it out slightly to help the shape of that object. Now there's also an internal hull. Try to grab that. Let's go to our perspective so we can see better. You can see there's an internal hull which I've selected on. You can also get that shape pulled out a little bit. Alright. And then I can also come in here with the control verts and manipulate those curves further if I choose. I definitely use your orthographic views to determine which ones are the appropriate ones to be pulling on. Alright. Alright, that's looking a little bit more like a mouth now. We go to object mode. You can see that looks a little bit like half a lip. Alright. Well, I will continue to lock these surfaces and be back if there's something different. Alright, in this case, what I have done is go ahead and lay out 4 splines. Because of the shape of this particular object, 2 splines lofted straight across is going to create a little bit more work than is necessary. So what I've done is plot out my splines and adjust them accordingly in my profile view as well as my front view. Check them in my 3/4 view. And now what I'm going to do is a bi-rail option. I'm going to select the splines, then I'm going to come up here to surfaces, bi-rail, and since I'm using 2, I'm going to come over here to the options, using proportional NURBS. I'm going to apply that. Now, as you can see, nothing's happened because what we need to do is select 2 rail curves. You can see the instructions right down here, and the icon has changed, the gizmo. So I'm going to select on the first one, the second one, and as you can see, the lofted surface has come in. Now, sometimes if your curves are not snapped tightly to the other corners, then you will create a surface, but it won't actually show up. You can come here to the outliner and simply make sure that that object has been created, and then what you can do is come around here and select on your edit points and snap them. You hold the C key down on the keyboard and you snap those to the other, you select them and snap them to the other spline. In this case you can see that there's a double line and this surface needs to be rebuilt. So we're going to come right up here as we did before and rebuild those surfaces. Now unfortunately this tool does not automatically try to determine based on the edit point count what that count should be. You have to count them. and put that number in yourself. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spans going one way, 1, 2, 3, 4 going the other way. So we'll take a chance here and try to do that, and I got it right this time. It's hard to determine sometimes which is the U spans and which is the V, but trial and error is my best approach. Close. And now we have a nice clean surface we can add to the others. You can check it again in the front view. That looks fine. The side view. And the 3/4 view. Alright, let's go on.